It's the Bennie Randall Show. It's the Bennie Randall Show. It's the Bennie Randall Show. It's the Bennie Randall Show.
Welcome to another edition of the Bennie Randall Show. I'm your host, Bennie Randall Jr., a.k.a. The Motivator. And this powerful show brings you conversations with today's stars and tomorrow's legends. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Come on.
It's the Bennie Randall Show. 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 I love the Bennie Randall. I love that Bennie Randall. I love the Bennie Randall Show. Yeah. I love the Bennie Randall. I love the Bennie Randall. I love the Bennie Randall Show. Yeah.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Bennie Randall Show. I'm your host, Bennie Randall Jr., a.k.a. The Motivator, a.k.a. Business Advisor, a.k.a. Global Entrepreneur. And thank you for joining us on another edition of the Bennie Randall Show. You can watch full episodes over at YouTube at Vanoy Media, or you can go to vanoy.com and watch full episodes there of this great entrepreneur show. This in part is sponsored by Vanoy Magazine. Go to vanoymag.com to get your printed copies of some of the greatest entrepreneurs and their stories that has ever been told. And like always, we have another powerful show and another powerful entrepreneur. Today we have Christy Rutherford, a recognized leader. Christy Rutherford is an advisor to executive leaders and businesses. A keynote speaker and author, Christy published 5 #1 best-selling books on Amazon in 8 months. A Harvard Business School alumni, Christy is also a certified executive leadership coach from Georgetown University and has been featured in Forbes 3 times. Christy is the 13th African-American woman to achieve the rank of commander lieutenant equivalent in the U.S. Coast Guard's 225 plus year history, where her demographics was 0.1%. Okay. Wow. Christy responded to the needs of citizens in New Orleans 2 days after Hurricane Katrina and had 3-year congressional fellowship with the Congressional Elijah Commons in the House of Representatives. Christy's academic portfolio also includes an MBA, a pastry chef diploma, among her many professional accomplishments. In her national recognized includes and has been nationally recognized, including Harvard Business School 2018, launching new ventures, pitch contest, Grandmaster champion. Let me tell you, we can go on and on and on and on. But
yeah, we'll be here all day with that bio. You can just skip that. I'm just the greatest to ever do it. I told you that's what you should just introduce me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome to the stage before she even to the stage, Christy Rutherford. How are you doing, Christy? You just like all talking in the green room. You ain't even on the camera right now.
I mean, so I was looking at the screen and it says you're in the show, and I'm like, I ain't in the show because I don't see myself. I'm gonna need to see myself, but go ahead, I'm listening. Hey, y'all.
Welcome to the Bennie Randall Show. Like always, we know it's going to be one of $14 million in salary raises for a woman, Christy Rutherford. And just in case, too, she was also in the latest edition of Vanoy Magazine, just dropping nuggets for you. So make sure you get a copy of that. Christy, introduce yourself to the world.
My name is Christy Rutherford. I'm the greatest to ever do it.
All right, that's the end of the show, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time on the Bennie Randall Show. Christy, this is going to be one of those shows. I can tell you, it's going to be one of those shows. Okay, Christy, $14 million in salary raises for women, and that's incredible. Inform my listeners exactly. What are you doing to help so many women get so much money?
Whew, let's all take a breather and breathe. Inhale for 5 and exhale. All I really do is show women how great they already are. I've talked to a lot of women who don't know their value. They don't ask for a raise. They don't really believe that they can get a raise. And then they're qualified, underemployed, frustrated, overworked, and underpaid. And so we can't keep normalizing these conversations and normalizing that the pay gap is going to keep increasing without actually taking ownership of how we're creating those scenarios in our lives. And so what I really do is show my clients how they're creating the undesired results in their house, in their house, one, in their jobs, two, and in their personal lives and in their professional lives, and then take accountability for that and then change it. And you know what I know, Benny, is people can't change what they're unwilling to admit to, and women can't keep continuing to accept less than what God has in store for them. So really, I just show them who they really are and set them on the path to greater. That's my gift. That's my secret sauce.
Yo, that is powerful. So let me ask you something. How did you get there? Just listening to a little bit from your bio, how did you get to this point where you knew you was not only an expert, but you was gifted, you hear me, at being able to help these women? That, like, what was that pivot like? How did you get there? Did you just wake up in one morning and say, hey, I'm gonna help some women get some money? I just don't think it like that. What happened?
Well, I mean, it's been a long journey. So I've been reading self-help magazines since I was 11. And so I've always been that super nerdy friend, as you know, who can quote a gazillion books and give advice on this, that, or whatever. And so I used to read. I'm just curious, and I was always curious about human behavior. And so I would read Shape magazine, eating Doritos and Oreos. So I know how to give advice on what women need to do to lose weight, but I was thicker than a Snicker. So, you know, but I always knew what to do.
Boy, she be dropping someone. Y'all, but I want to tell you one thing you want to do when Christy's talking, you want to get a pen, okay? Because she's going to be dropping some one-liners, and I'm telling you, it can change your life and your future if you get one of those one-liners that fit your category. Thicker than a Snicker. You go ahead, sister.
I was thicker than a Snicker. Talk about, you know what y'all need to do is lose weight while I'm breathing hard. So, and then in 2001, I actually started mentoring people in my career. And so mentoring the young junior leaders to teach them how to get to the next level of success. And so then that continued on. In 2007, I created a mentorship program for the Black officers in my organization, because I would listen year after year after year, people complain about, you know, we're not being promoted at the same level as our white male counterparts. And so I created a solution to solve that. And so in 2018 and 2020, we had the largest, even to this day, we had the largest number of senior Black officers in the organization. That was me.
Wow.
That's
powerful.
Yeah. The pipeline for creating senior leaders starts at the junior levels. And so I've been doing this for a long time. And a part of the pivot was when I left my career, and, you know, we've talked about this again and again and again, but ran out of money, ran through a brick wall doing 120 miles an hour, burned out. Is like, I needed to figure out how to translate the great things that I did in my career over here in these streets. And that was a whole different process, but I've been winning for a long time. Let's just wrap that up, period.
I like that. So, Christy, what have you found to be one of the sticking points why women are scared to ask for more money? When, you know, we've seen the disparities in, you know, what men get paid, what Black men get paid, and what white men get paid. What has been, you've recognized that why women have been a little hesitant to ask for more money when they clearly deserve it?
I mean, it is not necessarily like one thing. I'll give you one, but it's a layered approach to it. And the bigger thing is,
okay, give me three things. What you've learned? How about that? Let's go with that.
Say that again.
Give me three things that you've learned why women have been scared.
One, they're afraid to ask because they think they're going to make their boss mad, and then they're going to get fired, so they don't ask. Two, they don't know how much to ask for, so they don't know how to calculate their value. And you will ask for a $3,000 raise or a $10,000 raise, and your managers know you deserve $100,000, and then they tell you no. And then the third thing is, a lot of women are just stuck on safe and security, and they don't ask because they don't want to ruffle any feathers, and they just want to stay. You know, I wouldn't say necessarily stay where they are, but they're waiting for their leaders and their managers to validate them. And they go into the money conversation without a number on what they want. They just say, what are you going to give me? So they don't ask for anything specific, and then they don't get anything. And then they get mad. And so it's It's like going to Chick-fil-A. You know, I like to talk about Chick-fil-A, the number one crispy chicken sandwich breaded by the hands of Jesus. It's like going to Chick-fil-A and say, what are you going to give me? And they're like, man, I take your order though. Right?
Yes, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So let me ask you this. Based on what you've seen over the last few years, right? And women's salaries are not going up, but you somehow been able to change that trend, right? What are you doing to these women to, one, give them the confidence that they deserve it? Number two, helping them calculate what their value is. What does that look like without you getting everything? Because if they really want to know about their own personal value, they just have to contact you. It's just that simple.
I think the bigger part is women's salaries are going up for the women who are asking for their money.
Well, that's what I mean.
So
in that capacity, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Well, there are a lot of generalizations when it comes to the media and these articles about what women can't get when we over here killing the game. So there is a difference in what the collective would like to say, because we keep talking about this recession that's been, coming for the past 4 years, and everybody's like, burying their money. I like to quote scripture. They putting their talents in the ground instead of making it multiply. And so it's like they're hoarding their money. And at the same time, you got people who are getting rich. And so Forbes reported that there was going to be a 40% increase in millionaires worldwide by 2026. Mm-hmm. So either you're not going to get any money or you're going to be one of these, millionaires and multimillionaires. And so it depends on what story you want to adopt. And so the bigger challenge that the women that I see is they're choosing to adopt the limited narrative while complaining about the rich getting richer. They're choosing to say, I can't make more money. And then justify it and then fight why they can't make more money and then complain about Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. And so it's just a narrative, as you know, mindset of what narrative you choose to adopt. But a lot of that starts in childhood of what women were told long before they got to work. So we've been fighting before we got the job. We were the weirdos in our families long before we got to work. We were proving people wrong. And when somebody tells us what we can't do, we'd be like, stand right there, because I'm going to watch me. So we've been told at a very young age what we couldn't do. And now we've been running through walls and kicking doors open and breaking through barriers for the past 25, 30, 40 years. Now we tired, crazy, burnt out, and kicked all the doors open. And we've lost I think another part is we've lost the vision of what we wanted to do because we're too busy proving people wrong, that we're running down this path that we don't even want to be on anymore. And so we're just miserable, overworked, underpaid, and confused because you have sight but no vision. And you have a good job, but you have your personal life sucks. Did it. So it's anything I say, I'm really talking about myself from 10 years ago. And it's once we've achieved a certain level of success, we're never really satisfied because we keep looking for the next thing to make us happy. We keep thinking that, if I get this award, then we get the award, we shove it in a box. If I get this degree, I'll be happy. We get the degree, we'll be happy. If I get these things, I'll be happy. And we don't really remember what happiness is because we've attached our joy and our happiness and how we see ourselves to external validation. And that's never going to work.
So let me ask you this. In order for you to be able to help them understand corporate, how did you understand how corporate operates and now know how to teach people how to counteract that? Where did that experience come from?
The thing about people are the same no matter where they are, one. But two, Harvard Business School played a large part in that because when I went to Harvard Business School, I'm this, iconic, let's be clear. You see my face, iconic leader. Okay.
Go ahead, girl. I can't with you. I can't. But go ahead.
Iconic. Mentor and coach. Iconic. That's what but I only spoke military language and I didn't speak corporate. I didn't speak. And so I'm out here trying to market myself and I didn't speak the language at all. And so when I went to Harvard Business School, I would just sit in class and translate. I'd be sitting there like this. That's how y'all say that? That's how you say it. Right? Oh, y'all say it that way. This is how you say it. And so reading the articles and doing the work, it's the exact same thing. I just needed the language of corporate. So a lot of people didn't know I was in the military because I speak corporate. It's because of that Harvard Business School experience that I'm so grateful for because it gave me the ability to be able to translate And one of the things that's interesting is that read all these articles about how women are going to lose. I've never read an article about how men are going to lose. I mean, they write whole studies. I mean, whole surveys, booklets, print them out about the challenges that women are having. And it's the same thing every single year. I've never seen a 20-page booklet that talk about how men are going to lose.
That's very deep right there. And with saying that, do you believe because it's a male dominated like industry wide, in a lot of these companies and corporates, I'm glad to see there's a lot of women going to the top. Do you think that had some play to be why the narrative is that? Because one thing I like that you're doing, and you're doing it one lady at a time, you're slowly changing the narrative. Talk to me about that.
Well, women are the people who are writing articles. It ain't men writing articles.
So you're saying women are writing the articles about themselves?
Women are writing articles about how women are going to lose. I'm like,
wow.
So it ain't men. And let's be clear. I have worked with some of the craziest people in the world.
Oh, please, let's not go there yet, because that was my next question. I'm not going there. Transition.
So I'm not saying. So what I'm saying is, I'm not suggesting that women don't have challenges.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, a lot of that, we own part of it. And that's not what we're willing to admit to. I'm not saying that you're not being harassed at work. But what I do want to say is your tolerance for pettiness and harassments is minuscule now. We used to be able to tolerate a lot of stuff in our early 20s. Now at 40-something, 30-something, 50-something, we don't have the capacity to manage petty people. They've always been petty. People are going to be petty everywhere. Don't even get me started on your cousins on Instagram. But it's like, it's like our capacity to be able to manage the pettiness and to navigate it with whatever grace or ease or just ignoring it is what's creating this compound effect of misery. And I've never, ever, and I've been in the game for a long time, long before social media was created. I've never seen so many hopeless, passive, procrastinating, inaction, blaming miserable women, blaming everybody else for their problems, and they're choosing not to do anything about it. I mean, fighting to stay miserable and stuck and sick. I've never seen it so bad. And these are the women who in 2020, they were waiting for the sweet bye-bye, sweet Jesus. If we can just get out of 2020, we'll be good, right? 2021 coming, it actually got worse. Okay, well, maybe if 2021 to get better, and now 2024, we on the sweet bye-bye, sweet Jesus, they haven't done anything to take accountability for their personal mental and their physical health, and now claiming all of these medical conditions, which people will gladly medicate them for. I don't know if you wanted me to go down that rabbit hole, so I'm gonna jump out of it. But it's like, I've never seen so many miserable people who are justified in their anger and their bitterness, and they are literally dying. Sisters are dropping dead like dominoes in their jobs. I don't want to hear it.
You know what I like about you, Christy, that you ain't never scared. You know what I mean? You'll say what you need to say, but you ain't never scared. I remember just recently, you kind of went viral over on Instagram because somebody picked up a video that you said something, and they took it and they were saying all of these horrible things in the comment about you don't like women, you don't like this, and how you're gonna say that. I want to set I want to clear the table and give you the opportunity to respond live here on the Bennie Randall show about that, because they went on you like it was like they was ready to fight, but I think they got it wrong. Can you elaborate what was said versus what they thought you said versus the people in the comments? Like I was about to call my boys from Brooklyn, to help you out. You know what I mean? For real. I had some boys in Brooklyn, and when I was going to call them and be like, yo, you step up in here then. But
we're about to ride out.
Talk a little bit. Ride or die. You know what I mean?
Well, what I said was, I would rather have a hungry white guy on my team than a bitter and angry woman or sister any day. Boy, you would have thought I said
what happened, Christy?
Huh?
Boy, you touched some nerves with that.
Look, let's be clear. I am a leader, and I was a leader in my organization. I had some hungry white guys on my team. I'm not like, if I got these guys and the brothers got mad, they got mad the most. Like, you ain't even told about black men. I didn't have a lot of black men working for me. So in my mindset, I'm talking about my experience. Does that make sense? So it's
Right.
like,
Like, what was your train of thought? Because a lot of people seem to got it wrong. Like, how do you know? And you're this light skinned girl and you're this and all of this crazy stuff that meant nothing. What, what, how do you
So,
think they got it wrong based on what you actually meant? Can you tell me what you actually meant when you said it?
well, I meant what I said. That's one. I meant what I said. I'm not coming for a wildcat. If you angry and you bitter, like, and a lot of women that I talk to, Benny, they acting like they Houdini around here. They mad and they bitter and they got a smile on their face and they're like, pick me. I'm like, ain't no way. I know a bitter woman when I see one because I used to be angry. So I know what an angry, resentful sister looks like. I used to look at her in the mirror every day. So it's like we can't be mad that people aren't opening the doors for us. When we mad, when we get in the door, they're gonna have to fight us when we get in there. So that I meant what I said. If I'm going through it as a sister, a senior sister in an organization, let's be clear, you better believe 0.1% of the organization, I'm going through it. And so if I see another angry sister, and I had one who almost drug me down the hill with her. I'm not, and that was it early in my career. Right, she was lying on me. It was easier for them to let us battle it than it was for them to take control because white men were not going to step in to handle a situation of two black women fighting. She was the one coming. I was like, what is going on with this chick, right? So it would have been easier to fire both of us with her being the toxic one than it would be for them to manage her toxicity because they didn't want to catch a case. So
that was powerful how you said it was easier for them to sit back and watch you kind of destroy each other.
She was going to destroy me because I was like, what is wrong with this chick? Y'all need to manage her as a leader. Y'all need to she's doing these things and she's not performing and she's not doing this. I'm holding everybody accountable at the same. I hold my white guys accountable to the same, beat the black women in the head, the Hispanic guys in the head. I held everybody to the same standard. I didn't cater to anybody because they were, a certain race. And I'm not going to come for me, that's great leadership. And it's not about being colorblind. I had a standard that everybody had to rise to, everybody. And I held everybody to high standards. I coached all of my my junior leaders who are now senior leaders in the organization. Let's be clear, I am and was iconic. And it's like, but I held everybody to the fair standard. And so for them, I was like, y'all need to hold her accountable because this is when I was a junior leader. I wasn't even senior at the time. I'm like, y'all, she's not doing anything. They tried to let her cannibalize me. And I'm like, what in the world? But it's true for women who have been in leadership. Like, we're not going to invite somebody toxic on the team. I don't care who they are. Like, would it have been better if I said I prefer a pleasant and harmonious sister than an angry white man? It's the same thing, right? At the time, I was just talking to black women about being angry and being justified in it and then blaming other people for why they're angry. It doesn't matter why you're angry. People see your anger and nobody wants a part of that. So I wanted to illuminate to them that you're creating the barrier to your success for your unwillingness to just be happy. Just go to a different job. They don't owe you nothing. So
right there. You know what I like to let's step to the point of where you came from, because I believe in every story, there's the glory, right? But you said yourself you were angry before you was able to help women who are now angry, high net worth women that are angry, and you ain't scared to tell them that they're angry. You ain't scared. I've heard you talk to some of these women. You ain't scared to tell them that they're angry. You ain't scared to tell them that they're crazy. And at the same time, you use some words that are probably not in the dictionary, to discuss those things. All right. Let me ask you this. Tell us a little bit about how you got out of your craziness, because you said many times I've heard you speak and you say you was crazy. You were angry. How did you take yourself out of there?
My nickname was Christy Lights Out Rutherford. Did you know that? You didn't know that, did you?
No, I did not know that.
I used
not
to
at all.
black out on people.
Okay.
I like when I say I had a reputation, I had a reputation. It was one time we were at, so this is when I had gone through coaching at Georgetown, and I'm trying to be accountable for my energy that I'm putting out into the world, messing around with Oprah and, all these spiritual teachers. But I was kind of locked into this, rage. And so I remember I'm trying to be present and trying to be harmonious, and it's hard, right? Because baseline, I'm a little, And I remember coming to this conference and sat down. And so when I sat my jacket down at the table and walked off, my boys told the young guys, look, Christy Rutherford just sat at this table. Don't say nothing. Don't make no sudden movements. Don't make no sudden eye movements. Like, don't do nothing. Right?
Don't move quick.
Christy is crazy. There were memos on how angry I used to be. And Bennie thought that was funny. I'm sick.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm single, rubbing my own leg at night because don't nobody want no angry woman, right? I'm singing tweet. There goes my shirt up over my head, right? It was not serving me to be that angry. And so, my nickname was Christy Lights Out Rutherford. I would black out on you. Now, I also had 25 medical conditions. So when I left, I was sick as I don't know what.
First of all, who was counting your medical conditions, and how'd you get 25 of them?
The federal government and the military, when they buy you as is, and then they pay for what's broken. So we tallied it all up because you can get paid for your brokenness. That's a whole different. Did you
say they buy you as is?
They buy you as is. Yeah, they do. That's how we say it pretty much.
Wow, go ahead.
And then they pay for what's broken.
That might be a little too deep for us here, but go ahead.
Yeah, we ain't gonna go down this one, but so I was sick and I was lonely and I was angry. And so when my boss came, the last psychopath, he was like the last match that he threw onto a bonfire of experiences that were already stacked high. So he just came and lit the 15 years of things that I tried to ignore. My forest was already on fire before he showed up. So it would have been easy for me to say, he's the reason for my current misery and my current problems and my current dissatisfaction, but I was miserable for the whole time, right? And yeah, so when I left, you ain't unmuted. You got something going on in the background. And so when I left with 3.5 years left to retire with a full pension, and then started a business in entrepreneurship, which is the wrong thing to do, which is a whole different story. But I started a business, and because entrepreneurship seems easy, and they told me I would be rich in 2 months, and I believed it. And then I had catastrophic burnout. And so how
who told you you'll be rich in 2 months?
Network marketing, everybody rich. And so the thing was, I had to almost die and lose my mind, then lose all of my money, and end up in my brother's house drinking liquor on the couch before I stopped. Like, I didn't change until life made me change. That's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, that's incredible. Thinking about that, and I'm sorry, I'm pushing the wrong button over here. so it was that experience that you use now to take people out. And how do you know that someone is crazy and needs that help? Because that has to be a gift in its own right. You know what I mean? I'm sure everybody can't come to you and you can help them. So what does that look like to you? Like, do you have this visionary sign that comes on and say, like, she crazy, she crazy, and this what how does that process play out when somebody comes to you to help them?
Well, crazy is all relative, right? And so when I say crazy is knowing that I knew that I was angry, but I didn't know how to change. I knew that I was bitter. I knew that I hated my life. I knew that I loved my job, but I hated my life. I knew that I was going to go to work and expect to fight somebody every day. I knew that I was going to be disrespected on a regular basis. And I normalized that. I knew that I would look forward to happy hour on Fridays so we can all unpack about who had the worst week. So I was so dissatisfied, and I just normalized that as being an acceptable way to live, because I only had 3.5 years left to retire with a full pension. And so now, when I burned out, and I thought that I was hiding all of this, I thought that my family couldn't see it, that my friends couldn't see it. And once you end up catastrophic burnout, people always talk about, oh, I'm burning out, or I burned out. Catastrophic burnout, I could not coherently create a sentence for a year. So when I burned out, I could not talk for a year. and you know I talk all the time. And so I ended up in my brother's house. So I had a long time to think about the things that I did wrong. And I could see, and after probably about 18 months later, I'm still in my brother's house with no money, no nothing. I could see how I was not hiding my toxicity. I was not hiding my crazy. I know my family knew I was going to burn out, and I confronted them. I was like this, so y'all wasn't going to say nothing. Everybody knew you can't be a train, going at 120 miles an hour for 15 years and not run into a brick wall at a certain point. And so I confronted my family, my friends, and I'm like, hey man, y'all wasn't going to say nothing. They all knew I was going to burn out. They all knew. And I think, when we look at the women who are dying in their jobs and the, two, Black women college presidents last year died within 2 or 3 weeks of each other. And then another dean over at another college killed herself a couple of weeks ago. Like, women and Black women are dying in jobs. And I know that the people around them know that it's going to happen. And they don't know what to say. So I confronted my family. I was like, so y'all weren't going to say nothing? Because, one by one. And they were like, we didn't know what to say. And so my goal, Bennie, is to awaken women that they deserve better. And so to be a high achieving, alpha, strong, powerful boss woman, sometimes we need to be punched in the stomach. So that's what I do. We need to be, sucker punched with the truth and drop kicked in the head a little bit to look in the mirror and be like, oh, she understands me and there's a better way. And that's pretty much what I do. Is like, no, I was arrogant and I wasn't really going to listen to a lot of people, but had I had another strong woman that be like, I see you and I know, and really I was just in a lot of pain. It just manifested into anger. It was rooted in a lot of pain.
Now you can view us, on all these different platforms. So I'm sure there's somebody out there. So let me ask you this. How does a person know that they need someone like you? Right. What is that point that's happening in their life and their career that because I believe everybody needs a coach. I got a coach for I got a coach for revenue. I got a spiritual coach. I got a martial arts coach, and but you just need the right one that's for you at whatever time that is at that moment. So the people listening, what signs should they be looking for that they probably need someone like yourself?
One, if they're willing to admit that they deserve better. 2, if they know that they have more in them and they're not necessarily satisfied with their success, because it's time to shift out of success, which is hierarchical, to significance, and now monetizing yourself in a greater way and stepping into the greater vision that God has for you. 3 is being stuck and not knowing how to move forward. 4, you're about to lose your marriage and you don't want to lose your marriage, but your husband is complaining about you that you don't even listen. 5 is that, when you're not present with the people in your house because you're addicted and gripped into working 12 to 16 hours a day and you don't know how to stop. If you're being overworked and underpaid and you know that you have greater value to offer the organization, but they're not paying you. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, but really, Bennie, if people can manage, if you know that you're more powerful than you're exerting in this moment through your present self, and you want to be better. And my goal is to inspire women to change, because people either change through inspiration or desperation. A lot of women wait till they're desperate, till they get fired, or they they have something that happens before they come. We'll clean you up too. You want to burn out and turn into a pile of smoke? I can pick you up. I burn out and pick you to a pile of smoke. But I would love to help women before, they go down the path of burnout. It's just easier to recover.
Very powerful. 14 million in salary raises for women.
Since 2020.
Since 2020.
Okay,
can you give us some examples of, without guessing saying their names or whatever, of situations where they came to you in this state and you was able to help them change it to that state, so that my listeners can get an understanding of how you operate, in helping women get out of their own way. Can you give us a few examples so we can understand how this happens?
Yeah, I mean, I interview my clients. Money Loves Happy People on YouTube. But one of my clients, I told her that I said, you like she was so burnt out and she had a job at the time. And I said, I call her one puff, like, you got that one puff of the cigarette. I said, you like that cigarette that's hanging out the corner of your Uncle Larry's mouth. Like when he be talking, I said, you got one puff left, you're going to die. And she was like, you're right. And so really what I do, Benny, is I teach women how to take care of themselves. We high achieving women, we don't engage in self-care. We don't work out. We don't sleep. We don't meditate. We work all the time. And so you're so gripped into like your job while we're disintegrating mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, like we're empty and we're sick and we have all of these medical conditions that are going on, but all we want to do is like work and get to the next level. And so, so we taught her how to take care of herself. She ended up getting laid off. And I was like, you bet not. She had a severance package. I'm like, you better not, you bet not look for another job because you're still recovering from burning out. And she didn't know how tired she was until she had an opportunity to stop. Mm-hmm. And so within 2 months, that same organization ended up hiring her at another level. So she got promoted because she took care of herself. And I know for a fact that God will withhold some blessings because if this current level of leadership and this current level of position that you're in right now is burying you, the next level will kill you. Prayer denied. God to be like this. No, what's the point of getting promoted if you're going to lose your marriage or you're going to lose your kids or you're going to lose your household? What's the point of, one of my clients was working 16-hour days from home. And I'm like, your kids don't understand that. And she only spent an hour a week with her husband. And I was like, he's going to leave you, girl. She was like, what? I'm like, an hour? Like, that was it. That's all he got was an hour. And she just spent that hour unpacking her raggedy job. So it's like a lot of women are so gripped into like what's next for them that they don't see the destruction that's going on around them. So
that's very powerful. I like that. And something you touched on, I guess a lot of women don't understand that being in that state of mind affects your family and affects your marriage. How many marriages you think you probably save?
We say 30. I keep counting.
Have happen these women get right with it.
30. We keep count. 30.
Whoa, it's going down like that.
Yeah, 30.
And what have you seen, and how do you know when, hey, you're at that point where, like you just said earlier, he gonna leave you? You know what I mean? Now imagine somebody telling you that they ain't in your house. They don't know what's going on behind your closed doors, and you straight out like, he gonna leave you. It'd be like, what Christy talking about?
I was talking this a couple of years ago, one of my clients, and she said her husband didn't support her, and they were arguing one day, and he was like, I don't care if you become the CEO of this company. She's like, oh, he's intimidated by my ambition and all this other kind of stuff. Oh, that man don't care about your job. Because so here's the thing that happens in marriage. When people get married, they haven't been married for like 15 years. When they get married, she's like at the entry level of her career. He had 90%, the job had 10. Her first promotion, he had 70, the job had 30. The second promotion, third promotion, fourth promotion. Now the job got 90, the kids get 8, he got 2. So he's like, I don't want you to be promoted because he's seen with every level of promotion, he's lost more and more quality time, and he's lost his wife. They've lost the connection, and now you got kids, and now the kids get a little bit, the job get most of it. So once we got done through the process, she could see, she's like, me and my husband haven't argued consecutively in 30 days, right? I was like, well, how long has it been since that happened? She had to think about it. She was like, 12 years. I said, thank that man for staying with your crazy self, because he loved her. He stayed, right? And so now the next level.
She had one of those good ones, because a lot of other men would have been gone in way much quicker than that.
He's there. That's what I'm saying. Like, but if you're so gripped into your job, defining how you should feel joy, you're not even seeking joy in your house anymore. You're seeking it from these external things. And so now her next level of promotion, she has to make sure, what she did, and she just got promoted recently. She wanted to make sure that instead of getting this promotion, because I was like, you should get 300. She asked for 150 because the 150 would allow her to keep her house happy. It would allow her to keep her kids stable and whole and happy, and her husband happy. So she took the 150 as opposed to the 300. And I was like, that's fine, because she now understands that her house is her priority. The job is secondary. A lot of women have made their jobs their priority and their family secondary, and they have no idea that they're doing it.
So based on this, a lot of the women you're working with are in the 6-figure range already. How many people have you tucked into the 7-figure range that,
Seven.
like that, I'm
We have
sorry.
some women that make 85,000, which is interesting. So I got women who make 200, they don't have no money, and then women who make 85,000 pay me in full. Ask me how that works, but whatever. So we've gotten 7 women $1 million packages. I had a client last January who started at
Mhm.
$150,000. In October, she was at $1.5 million.
And so how does that happen? Did they just wake up and just do the money dance, or like what happened? You know what I mean?
It's a
Because
process
that is
of
a Christy. That's a big jump. You know what I
yeah.
mean? You doing 150. You know what I mean? And the next thing you at 7 figures. How does
Yeah.
something like that? You don't have to tell us the in particulars, but how is that possible?
So in January she started at 150, and then in June she got a job for 225. And so really it's about showing her who she is. We can't keep saying that we're overqualified without actually taking accountability of what are they talking about. A lot of women be like,
Hmm.
oh, they're not hiring me, they say I'm overqualified, because you are. You should be 2-3 levels up. And so once you're able to slow down, take care of yourself, get some sleep, you know, own who you already are. You can't keep complaining that you're underemployed. That means that it can't be a leadership gap and a bunch of underemployed women in jobs. It's like they're playing safe. So she's playing safe and
Hmm.
not wanting to take risk and not stepping out and asking. When she did step out and ask, she got a job. It was 225. It was 225, 255. And so that was in June. Then in October, another role came open with another organization because companies don't care. They want top talent. They don't care who they take you from. And so they ended up giving her, it was the total comp was 355, but it was $1.25 million in equity.
Hmm.
So
So you
she
have
was
no
already
problem
valued at
advising them to
1.5.
jump. You have no problem advising your clients to jump ship if it's more beneficial.
Well, the first thing is most women focus on I want a dream job, but they don't focus on how they want to live.
Hmm.
So the goal is what kind of life do you want to create and what kind of freedom do you want to create in your life? Then the job has to match that. People keep
Hmm.
saying if I get the job, then it's going to give me the flexibility, it's going to make me happy. So you're curating your whole life experience in a box and in a bubble, as opposed to saying this how I want to live. I want to have a second beach house. I want to fund 10 kids to go to college. I want to run butt naked down the beach 3 days a week. I want to, have joy. I want to be able to travel and I want to be able to do these things and I want to have the flexibility and I want to. And now it's like, now when the job comes, now when you're looking for jobs, the job has to match this. And that's what we're missing, which is why so many women are miserable, is because they keep thinking that if I get the job, then I'll have this. And this isn't clearly defined. The job is just like the next thing. So even having more money, I told her last week, you can make $1.5 million. You're still gonna be crazy. It don't matter about the money because you don't even know what you want and you're not taking care of yourself. How about you take care of yourself first? Own who you are, own your value, connect with your purpose, understand the job is just the job is just the next thing that's going to get you into alignment with the person that God called you to be. That's the
Hmm.
real goal, because that's when, as you tap into provision. You cannot run provision. Money will chase
Hmm.
you down. So we don't work for money. I work for joy. Now you're
Oh,
gonna pay me my money because you extracted my time and my intellectual property, but I don't work for money.
you say I
I
don't work
work
for money. I
for
work for joy,
joy.
but you gonna pay me my money.
You go.
let's let's be clear. You gonna pay me my money, okay? I'm gonna be joyful that you pay me my money. That's where the joy gonna come from. So no, I'm just teasing into that.
That's
Yeah.
value.
Yeah,
So it's,
absolutely.
I mean, it's a lot. It's not
They're
like
not paying for you.
one.
So let me ask you, 10 years ago, did you know that you would be in this place, as you like to say, this iconic place in this field of helping women win?
10 years ago, I actually, I named this year They Will See. So this year they will see. Y'all are gonna see what I saw 10 years ago when I was burnt out,
Mhm.
drinking liquor and eating cheese at Snap Mix and Nutty Balls on my brother's couch. So we're gonna launch a lot of things this year because to hold the vision. And I knew that I didn't necessarily knew I would be talking to women because I was being disobedient. God was like, go talk to women. I was like, I don't even like women. But he wanted me to
We
really
know.
serve, huh?
I say we know.
Okay. But I didn't, it wasn't that I didn't like women. I didn't want to tell my story. I didn't want,
You
I'm
wasn't
Christy
niching
Rutherford.
it. You was not niching it.
I didn't want to tell people that I burned out and lost everything. I didn't want to admit failure because I'm a winner. I just wanted to just keep talking about how to win and how to do leadership development because I am an iconic leader. I just wanted to talk about that stuff. And God was like, no, you're going to go talk about the messy stuff. You're going to go serve and create a conversation of what you did wrong. I can clearly identify what I did and how I created that scenario that I found myself in of having it all and then feeling like I had nothing, having the success and then having, a personal life that sucked. So he's like, no, go do that. And so I knew that I would be at this stage. But we haven't even scratched the surface on the women that I'm going to impact in the world. We haven't scratched the surface on. I mean, I just got on the track and laced up my shoes. So we're really going to have a lot of fun this year with the impact that's going to be made and changing the lives for women and their families, right? For the best. And a couple other things that I'm working on.
So what do you see in the next 5 years for Christy Rutherford and Christy Rutherford International?
Vision Founder International. Then, we're going to launch this. One, my goal by 2025 is to get 10,000 women, $1 billion in promotions. That's going to happen. Two, a massive real estate portfolio. Let's be clear. Three, I want to start to, I think business coaching is going to be, I do some of that now with my higher level clients, but, continuing to serve women, having a massive real estate portfolio, launching this veterans project, which is some of the things that we're working on, more books. I've written 9 books. I've written 16 books. I've only published 9. Mm-hmm. So getting those out and into the market and really just stepping on larger stages and sharing the message that we can create a completely different life and we're just willing to do the work.
If people want to learn more about you, because I know you got to go, if people want to learn more about you, how can they reach out to you?
You can get my insight at changenowwithchristy.com. That is Change Now with Christy, CHRISTY.com. You can connect me on LinkedIn and also follow me on Instagram.
And you do say you have a show on YouTube called what?
It's Money Loves Happy People. So you can go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Okay, you can either type in my name or Money Loves Happy People because it does.
When does it come on?
We release new episodes every Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday. All right, cool. And your final words, Christy, for those that might be on the borderline of, wanting to make that change, because I know the first step in change is to change yourself and to be real with yourself and to be honest with yourself. What about those women that might be on the borderline listening to this and saying, it might be my time? What can you say to them?
What I really want women to know is you can live a life of total fulfillment. You can have everything. You just have to understand and look in the mirror and take accountability for what you're doing, because you are the author and the finisher of your life. You are the creator of your reality. And so, the depression is worrying about a past that you cannot change. Anxiety is having fear of a future that hasn't happened yet. So learning how to balance life and, success and the journey of success and leadership is a marathon and not a sprint. And we came out the block sprinting and now we're starting to slow down. And it's like, how can I manage the marathon and then also be in the moment? And I think that's the balance that we need to aspire to.
Very powerful. And your final words, Christy? Is something wrong with your shoulders?
Yeah, understand that you deserve and you can be paid 30% more than what you're making right now. Baseline, borderline. Just put yourself in a position to be able to have the courage to ask for what you deserve, and ye shall have it. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
You going with yourself. Thank you very much. All the way from the Bahamas, Christy Rutherford. We appreciate you being on the Bennie Randall Show, where we believe it's your business to know. And make sure you check out Christy in the latest edition of Vanoy magazine right here. She's got a great article where she goes a little bit more in depth. It's the Shark Tank issue. And I'm telling you, she is dropping some nuggets in there for that, as they say. You know what I mean? And I appreciate you for being here. And ladies and gentlemen, always remember, it's like this. I love you, and you can't do a damn thing about it. Join me at BennieRandall.com and join me at Vanoy.com for more powerful information, magazines, and shows. All right. Until then, let God be your guide.